Hi folks, welcome back to the Serial Setting channel. And today I'm coming to you here from a hotel lobby here in New York City. As a matter of fact, our office is right across there. We're not a part of the, well, we work in the hotel, but we're not a part of the hotel, so to speak. Anyway, while I'm sitting here, just taking a little bit of a break, I decided I should just shoot out, and sorry about that. I should just shoot out a new video. And this video is going to be about the Black Panther movie again. But not about the movie, not any details about the movie, not giving away any spoilers about the movie, but about the momentum of the movie. And being a person from the Caribbean, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands to be specific, the movie's momentum has brought to mind something that I have been talking about for years, something I wish I could have done, something I wish I had the connections or the money to do, neither of which I have. But again, with the momentum of the movie, I figured I might as well go ahead and talk about it, and maybe it may reach out there to someone. As some of you may know, I would say that most of us Caribbean people know this. Two of the main characters in the movie, at least that we know of, are from the Caribbean or have some ties, some direct ties to the Caribbean. That is Shuri, the sister of T'Challa, and the guy that challenged T'Challa for the throne at the very beginning of the movie. In that regard, what we've looked into, and forgive me, I'm a little bit distracted by a couple of things I see in front of me. But anyway, I just figured that with the momentum of the movie right now, and with this dream that I've always had to see Caribbean stories make it to the big screen, looking at the momentum of the movie right now, I thought this would be a great time for us to hitch, well, for me to hitch my dream to see something like that to the momentum of the Black Panther movie at the moment. What exactly, I should point out the fact that Ryan Coogler, which I don't have his connections, or Oprah Winfrey's money, or Tyler Perry's money to do a project on my own, but him and Michael B. Jordan, who plays Killmonger in the movie, I understand that they're in talks right now, or have discussed, doing a movie about Mansa Musa. For those of you who do not know about who Mansa Musa is, I learned about him way back in 11th grade in high school. But for those of you who may not know who he is or was, he was the ruler of the great, great, great Mali Empire in northwestern Africa. There's still a nation today called Mali in northwestern Africa, by the way. He was allegedly the richest man who has ever lived. I think people have estimated his worth or wealth would have been somewhere in the $500 billion range today. But while I could see Ryan Coogler getting a $200 million budget to do a movie like The Black Panther from Marvel and Disney, whether they'll get one for something like a Mansa Musa movie from I don't know where, I don't know. But right now, the man has the Midas touch. And it's all about the money sometimes. Even if it's going to be white folks footing the bill, as long as they can see it's bringing in money, they'll probably go ahead and finance something like that. Black Panther is a lot of eye candy, gratuitous blackness. And I could imagine a movie about the wealth of Mansa Musa would be even more incredible. But right now, that's Mansa Musa. Great. I would love to see something like that. But I always look at the fact that in the Caribbean, a lot of people just probably look at us as just sun, rum, and fun. Place where you go to smoke weed and listen to reggae music and jump up in carnivals. But we're much more than that. Much, much more than that. And I don't think that we get the correct type of recognition that we should be getting, or wider recognition, because a lot of people fail to realize that the wealth of Western Europe, a lot of the wealth of Western Europe, talking about England, Spain, France, Portugal, was, believe it or not, gained in the Americas and in the Caribbean specifically. At one point, Saint Domingue, which we call Haiti today, was one of the richest places on the earth because of the wealth it generated through its sugar production for France. The island of Nevis, where my mother is from, was known as the Queen of the Caribbean because, again, of the enormous wealth that island produced for England because of sugar. Barbados is another place where basically sugar manufacturing started out in the Caribbean. And remember, all of this was done on the backs of enslaved Africans, free labor. Barbados was a place where this whole production of sugar started in the Caribbean after, I think, the gentleman, I think his name was Drax, who went down to Brazil and learned the mechanisms of producing sugar from the Dutch down there. And Barbados, a lot of the wealthy people there picked up and moved to the colony, the new colony of South Carolina, on the U.S. East Coast, and brought that city to a level of prominence that made it the richest place in all of the colonies for quite some time. So when it comes to the Caribbean, we do have our stories to tell. And when I say the Caribbean, I'm not just talking about from the Bahamas to Trinidad. I'm talking all the way from French Guiana, all the way up the Caribbean chain, and along the northern coasts of Central American nations. And there's stories there that we could tell, for example, like the Jamaican Maroons, the Haitian Revolution, I think everybody knows that's a given. The Surinamese Maroons, the Kalinago, known better as the Black Caribs, and their trail of tears across the Caribbean Sea when the British exiled them to places like Roatan and Belize, formerly known as British Honduras. They're Maroons from St. Croix, in what was called the Danish West Indies back then, but today a part of the Virgin Islands of the United States. We also have the story, believe it or not, over in St. John, also in the Virgin Islands of the United States, where enslaved Africans rose up and held that island for 6 months before the Danes called in for backup from the French in Martinique. There's the Battle of Brimstone Hill from the island of St. Kitts. There's so many epic stories that could be told, that could be brought to the big screen. And I would love if at this point we chime up, we spoke, we mentioned it, and perhaps on the momentum of the Black Panther movie, it might be something that could come to pass. I mean, could you just imagine seeing Jamaicans in movies, in a movie talking about the Jamaican Maroons? Could you just imagine seeing people from the Caribbean being in these movies in prominent roles? I think it would be fantastic. I could see a guy like Usain Bolt playing Toussaint Louverture. Who knows? But I think it's something that we should explore and something that we should talk about. And I would love to see something like this come to pass. I would really, really love to see it happen. But it's a dream of mine. Again, I don't have the money that people out there have that I can go ahead and do this on my own. I surely don't have the connections. But someone who may be watching this might go ahead and say, sounds like a great idea. But again, if you get to know Caribbean history, if you get to know us past, or the few folks that you may know beyond the weed, beyond the drinking, beyond the partying, beyond the beaches and so forth, and the vacations and the cruises, if you can get beyond that, just keep in mind that there are people living in the Caribbean. There are communities there. People are living their lives there. These tourist destinations have deep, rich stories and culture that if you get to know it, you will realize that no matter how small these islands may be, they are steeped in history. Lots of blood, sweat, and tears fell on those grounds down there. And just because we're small, we should not be overlooked. Again, because we propped up powers in this world that dominated the world scene for hundreds of years. And I think it's about time that our story probably would be told, or should be told. So, I just wanted to just drop that in, and it would be nice. I wish I had the ear right now of Ryan Coogler, or a Michael B. Jordan, to mention this to them, or Tyler Perry, or an Oprah Winfrey. Have them go down there, have them fly down, immerse them in more than just the rum, the beaches, the laying on the sand and so forth, but to talk about the history of things that have gone on down there that we could bring to the big screen. Okay? Just keep in mind, the Caribbean is more than Jamaica. The Caribbean is more than Bob Marley. The Caribbean is more than reggae music. There's a lot to tell. Okay? Anyway, this is your Serial Cynic. Keep that in mind. Subscribe to the channel at the bottom. Comment if you have a comment to make, if you have a question to ask, if you have an objection to what I was saying, feel free to go ahead and share it. I want to thank you for tuning in, okay? Enjoy the rest of your day.